Hey, what's up, Lock 22 Nation? It's your boy Gobo here with my very favorite co-host of all time, James Marvs.
You know, we do the show NFL Gobo.
We do. That's what you're
Sometimes,
watching right now.
and I'm just going to do this up front. I'm going to take the candle and I'm just going to extinguish it for
I was
now.
like, yeah.
All right. Because, well, we'll talk about why I don't know that I'll be able to open this again.
I was
But
like,
NFL, what does that mean? I mean, we went from a three seed to out of the playoff picture. I don't know if that's worse than it is worse than being a Giants fan. It's worse. It's
I
worse.
don't know if it's worse than being a Giants fan.
Well, think about it. There's nothing to even watch football for at this point. Like I still have to watch and I get to cheer. You're a coffee cup, by the way, on TikTok. I can't see your pretty face.
I'm a coffee cup. Oh,
Can't see
the
your pretty face.
oh, uh-oh. Give me 1 second.
Guys, we'll take a little bit of time in between
There we
shows
go.
to talk about fantasy.
Yeah,
We have to
absolutely.
talk about right now we have to talk about reality, unfortunately.
A little bit of reality just snuck back in
I no, I'll just tell you now. I think it's more hell to be close to a
to
pinnacle
have
and have
to
it
have
ripped away,
hope.
and then to have it ripped away. Not that it's all gone, but I mean, certainly took a massive blow this week. Anywho, congratulations. Here we are. Fuck my
It
life.
certainly it certainly does blow.
What are we? Week 15 recap?
Week fit is this week 16 recap.
No, we this next week is 16 games.
You sure?
Yeah, this is
Okay.
15. Yeah. Yeah, definitely 15. We're definitely recapping 15. Yeah, recapping 15.
Recapping 15. All right. All right. Well, let's recap it then. All right, so we're gonna start not in the City of Angels, but it's a place now owned by the team that occupies that land in maybe the worst primetime football game I have ever seen. I can tell you this one was painful.
Nice. Gobo was 11-5 this week. I was 12 and
Oh my God, the records. Yes. Okay. James went 12-4. I went 11-5. James continues to dominate our head-to-head series by some freakish miracle
one game.
that we don't know.
One game this week. I mean,
By one game.
so anyway, you were saying about this game that I really needed some help with.
Didn't get it.
The football gods are speaking loud and clear, Gobo. This was not only the worst offering for Thursday night football that we've ever seen.
Yeah, maybe ever.
It was all field goals. Am I wrong?
All field goals. What is it?
12-6.
Six field goals between the two teams. Four for the Rams, two for the Niners. And that was it. Nobody crossed the threshold of the end zone.
Nobody, not one damn soul.
Yeah. Stuck.
Unfortunately, I had picked San Francisco. So to add insult to injury, and then what would become further injury later on in the week, um, I had a team that I normally would never ever cheer for ever completely shit the bed in a time where we absolutely needed them to come through, and they did not come through. So
NFL. NFL, gentlemen, when you're forced to cheer for a rival and you still end up losing.
awful.
Absolutely inspired. Nick Bonino, Defensive Player of the Year. Tyler, you are just like your chocolate bars. You're absolutely nuts. Um, all right. So I'm looking at the NFL slate of games. I don't have my notes up, Dame. So, do you want to just let me know which games we're going to be discussing?
Sure. You're ready with that one. But then, dude, then we had this Dallas, Carolina.
Dallas and
Or Carolina.
Carolina.
And, we've been talking up, well, I've been talking up Bryce Young quite a bit. Um, Cooper Rush just appeared to be too much for Carolina. There was a couple things. I mean, I could still, if I went back and rewatched this game in full and just focused on this game, I'm sure I'm not coming out of this blaming Bryce Young for it. Um, Saw a couple things that other players on the team did to completely just blow it. But I stand by it. I stand by my defense of Bryce Young, um, that they'll be
You know,
okay.
watching this Panthers team, it's like you can tell that the majority of them are done. They don't give a shit about the rest of the season. They're basically playing for contracts on different teams, trying to get their contract renewed by the Panthers. They have no desire to win, and in most cases, that's enough to just lose out. But the Panthers, for some reason, have piled together a couple of wins. And watching pieces of this game, it was pretty obvious that there was a talent disparity. And I know that like we talk about how talented the Cowboys are and just how poorly managed and poorly coached they are, which is why they run into so many issues. I think that this is a great example. Is this like the Cowboys can't win at home. They can't beat competitive teams, but when they get like momentum against a shit team, they can really ride it out. And so it's like what that means is that like it's going to delude Jerry into not firing Mike McCarthy. It's this type of shit that deluded him into giving Dak that giant contract. This is why the Cowboys are bad because they win games like this. If they
That's
would have lost
interesting.
this game, that's almost enough to get people fired.
That's interesting because I'm almost like resigned to the fact that McCarthy is not going to be there next year. And you have Jerry Jones saying it's not unrealistic for him to get an extension. We're not the dude. By all means, we are not intelligent football gods, okay? But we are among the majority in believing that this pairing in Dallas of Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones is not long for this world, no matter what he says publicly, right? I mean, right?
I don't trust Jerry Jones to make any kind of reasonable or logical decision. Um, Essentially, I don't know if they're gonna I don't know. I don't know. I would like to think that his absolute inability to win football games will limit Mike McCarthy's ability to get an extension on his contract, but they didn't fire him last year after having like almost one of the best regular seasons the Cowboys have ever had and then getting blown out by a wild card team in my Packers. And then they bring him back. He doesn't do anything differently. And now everyone has figured it out. Like people have figured out the Dallas process is that like if you can get a chop an additional blocker in to keep Parsons out of the backfield, you can throw on them. You can run on them. Like their offense without a Dak playing up to his potential is shit. It's shit. They don't have a good running back. Like their CD Lamb is basically like I can see him like requesting a trade if this continues. So I mean it's like I don't understand why anybody would feel good about this win if you're a Cowboys fan.
Um, I mean, I certainly picked Carolina knowing that I shouldn't. But I just had that little glub of faith.
Little glove those gloves they'll weigh you down, man.
Yeah, but you got it right. So I'm 0-2 at this point. You're 2-0.
How could things possibly get worse? Um, okay. Who's up next?
We got Kansas City that went to Cleveland.
Kansas City that went to Cleveland. The Chiefs
We both
finally beat a team by more than one possession.
and we said this was the game.
You said this was the game. I thought they were gonna shit it again and win by two.
Um, oh yes, that's true. I'm looking at the scores. You had the Back to the Future score.
I
And
did.
I
I
went with
did.
the more than 8 points, was my philosophy. And then, I did 2 weeks in a row. Yeah, so like you say it enough, it's bound to
Oh,
happen.
sure. Yeah.
I mean, it was Cleveland, but in Cleveland. Um,
Yeah.
so
I think this is officially lights out for the Browns. Yeah, I don't see I mean, I think it's been lights out for a couple of weeks now. They're definitely like in contention for a pretty high draft pick. Um I don't know what they do with that Deshaun contract, but yeah, they're just bad. They're a
yeah,
bad football team.
for those of you joining, this is our recap show. We're recapping week 15,
Mm-hmm.
moving on to week 17
Yeah, yeah.
predictions.
Coleman says, do you think oh no, sorry, Q says, do you think the Seahawks can beat Minnesota? Find that answer out on our prediction show coming up next.
Yeah.
Um,
Just a short, it really kind of depends on Geno Smith's health. I mean, my thoughts on that will come at the later show, but it really depends on his health. All right.
anyways, all right, next.
Next game. Well, we both had Kansas City. We were both
Both
back.
at Kansas City, so that's at that point I'm 3-0, you're 1-2.
You got Miami Dolphins going to the barbecue pit in Houston.
Right. The uh the invention of the air
Tell me
conditioner.
why you picked Miami here.
I picked Miami, and this is because Houston's have been on a slide. They really have. They have not played good football. They didn't play good football in this game.
I
They squeak out a win. Um, I think that this locks them into the division win because the Colts also lost, I believe. Fact check me if I'm incorrect, but yeah, Houston, they get a home. They're locked into a home playoff game. They eke out a win against the Dolphins, and then they've had a couple of really uninspired weeks. So it's like they play these really good games, and then they just, as of recently, it's like it's almost like their schemes, like somebody just figured it out. I think that Tank Dell is probably not wide receiver one material on most teams. Let's be honest. And Stroud is good, but he can't be the whole team. And so it's like if Houston, if they run into a really stout defense and an offense that can put up points, I just don't see them having much success in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to win a playoff game this year. I think they're going to not really struggle to make the playoffs because the rest of their division sucks.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
But I mean, Nico Collins, he is their wide receiver one, and I don't know that he would be on a lot of teams.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And the Dolphins are bad. I mean, they have pretty shit offensive line. They have a quarterback who has a lot of brain damage. They have no defense, and they still held their own. I thought that they might be able to eke this one out just because they've had a couple of they still got Tyreek, they still have HN, they still have a couple of dynamic players, and so I thought that they may be able to pull this one off. So I was wrong.
dude, on paper though, the teams are pretty close, I think. I mean,
Talent,
when I
yeah,
think of playing these teams and having to pick which one I would rather play, it's a coin toss, honestly. I mean, probably would rather play the Dolphins, but
yeah. I was like,
I,
after seeing the Packers play both of these teams, I think the Dolphins are definitely worse. But Yeah, you really wouldn't know it watching this game. They seem pretty evenly matched. All right, up
All right,
next.
this one is an absolute joke. The Jets go to Jacksonville.
Oh my God, this fucking game. All right. So the only person in the world that would try to convince you that the Jets won this game because they played well is Aaron Rodgers. Literally, this fucking team is so like they're so incompetent in every aspect of the game, and you can tell Jacksonville was trying to lose. Like Jacksonville was letting them keep it close. They let them take the lead at the end. They didn't try to score. Like they're letting Mac Jones play. They're letting a bunch of backups play. Like it's fucking pitiful. Then the Jets should have blown them out as an NFL team, trying not to win games going against them, and 32 to 25. I mean, it was like this is like watching a high school scrimmage. Like fuck this game. I hate that this game happened.
Yet you had favored Jacksonville
I did.
in
Just
the.
because I can't pick the Jets in good conscience. Like, yeah, as everyone was like, oh, Aaron Rodgers to Devontae, like, they reignited their ability to throw and catch the ball to each other. It's like, dude, they weren't covering him. And then when he caught the ball, they weren't trying to tackle him.
Dude, here's my thoughts. Like to watch Aaron Rodgers celebrate a fourth win of the season in week 15. I'm like, dude, you're just like what do you have to be happy about? Like seriously, I know that I last week I was like, what do you have to be mad about? They did everything they could for you, including letting you run the team, and then all of a sudden you're mad in your interviews. Well, he got to be happy in his interview, but like the celebration at the like you won a game against like maybe the worst team in the NFL right now.
They're pretty bad.
Now, what that
Jacksonville's had a rough season,
means,
for sure.
what that means moving forward, yeah, a rough season. Yeah, I don't think they're the worst. And clearly they're not, but I mean, good God. Don't celebrate, don't be like happy. Be like, oh, he's like Adams had to talk. He's like, we're friends. So like he had like a rough talk with me at halftime and like I kind of took it. Then he's like, I laughed at the end of the game. He's like, I just love that guy so much. I'm like, dude, the party's over for Aaron Rodgers. Even
It is. It's over for Devontae too.
the
Like,
media is starting to turn their back on him too.
yeah,
And
we'll see how many primetime games the Jets have next year, but or whoever Aaron Rodgers ends up playing for. Because I've heard he doesn't want to be with the Jets. The Jets don't want him anymore, which I couldn't possibly imagine why, since he, made all of your personnel decisions and you won 4 games.
let me move on from the Jets.
Yeah, let's get the fuck out. Yeah, away from this game. What are we going to Tennessee or New York?
We're going to New Orleans,
New Orleans.
Washington. This game,
What a
holy
goofy
crap.
fucking game. The 2-point conversion.
Holy crap. You know what? I love that. I love it. That's a baller call.
Yeah,
As a fan of the team that's doing it, I'm always like, no, please don't do it. Let's just go to overtime. Please, please, please. Let's just go to overtime. But nothing is guaranteed, not even extra points in this day and age. So why not, Gobo? Why not go for two? Why not say, look, we played this full fucking game. Here's the thing. Usually you would do this if it was like 55 to 60.
hmm
Clearly, our defense is not stopping anybody. But at 19, like you've played a fairly good defensive game at this point, right? So
100%.
so anyway, they did it. They decide win or lose on this one play. And well, they lost. And Washington goes into Philadelphia riding a kind of ugly win by 1 point.
I
So
mean,
we
it
both had
doesn't
Washington.
inspire a lot of confidence. I also I'm jumping off of TikTok just so I can look at the notes and then I'll monitor the chat here as well. So um but yeah, it's a little funky. But I believe they could probably still hear me on TikTok. So yeah, Washington ekes out a win against kind of an ailing Saints team. I don't know. It's another one. It's just like is Washington is kind of one of those cusp playoff teams. Like they would be in it right now if the season were to be over. I think they probably do find a playoff spot. It's between them and the oh no, the Rams are winning the division now, huh? So yeah, I mean I guess it's between them and Seattle. I think they probably have it over Seattle. Just looking at the strength of schedule left, but I don't know. I think we could talk more about that on the prediction show, but yeah, just not a very good game from Washington. They started out really hot and they've really kind of leveled out, and it's not a good time to level out.
No.
So
Let's move on.
you got Philly, and yeah, it's like, and then you're gonna try to.
But I mean, they're capable anyway. I mean, keep in mind this is Jaden Daniels is the difference here and the new coach, right?
Mhm.
Because you saw firsthand what Sam Howell is.
Oh my God,
He threw every throw for them last year. So uh
not good.
no.
Yeah,
We'll get there in a little bit though.
I was like, we got a little ways before we cross that bridge, my friend.
Baltimore
Um,
goes to the Giants.
do we really even need to talk about this game?
No,
I
we both said Baltimore. We were both right.
um
It was a shill.
Baltimore is a team that belongs in the NFL. The Giants, not so much.
Yeah. They
Uh,
did continue their bid for first pick of the draft, though.
they did, you know. Poor Brock Ewers. Um, all right, Cincinnati, same situation. Going into Tennessee, this was kind of we both kind of. I mean, we were even pretty close score wise. We said you said that Cincinnati by 13. I said Cincinnati by 15. They ended up winning by 10. A team that's really been struggling versus a team that has absolutely no identity and no quarterback and no defense.
What are they going to do with Will Levis? This is interesting to me as they enter the top five for draft order. Tennessee does, but we'll talk about that again. Yeah, we both were on Cincinnati. It was a little closer than it should have been, in my opinion. Guys, we're doing the recap show right now. Um, we'll talk in between shows, and then we'll give you a little more insight. Sorry, I know it feels like we're ignoring you, but
I know we're not even. Yeah, thank you for your comments. Make sure to smash those likes. Let's get a party going in here. And then yeah, we will definitely address your comments as they relate to the topics we're discussing on the show as well. Um,
ooh, that's
moving
a,
on.
is it too late for the Eagles to top seed? Not at all.
No, absolutely it's not.
Not at all. It's
Absolutely
still
it's
in
not.
play. Still in play.
Absolutely it's not.
And
That is a good topic to discuss on the prediction show.
yeah,
Um, anyways, New England, Arizona. I thought Drake had this. Arizona's been so bad. They've looked so bad in all of their recent games. They're just like getting blown out. Like Kyler's not looking good. Marvin Harrison looks frustrated. James Conner's dealing with an injury. I mean,
they put it on
no
them.
better than the Patriots, though, I guess.
They put it on them. I'll just say that.
They did. They had a good game. Yeah, Arizona, I don't understand what's with this team. When I watching them play, they seem like they have a really dynamic offense,
They do.
but they don't show up some weeks. So I don't know, it's frustrating. Anyways, all right. Up next. Ooh, the horse game. Nay.
The horsey game.
Yeah. Ooh, I was pretty close. So 30, I said 31-17. You said 31-28. We were both right on the Broncos score. But Indy only scores 13.
They were handling this game for a while.
I was watching this game and I was like, wow, like, because Indy jumped out to a 10-0 lead immediately. And I was like, is this finally where we see the Broncos get exposed? And then I kind of stepped away from the game and I turned it back. The Broncos were up big. I'm like, yeah, this Colts team does not have it.
Yeah, I mean, this game was basically given away on platters though. I mean, a lot of just stupid mistakes by both teams really, but the more costly ones just happened to go Denver's way. So, Denver at home, we both had it. We were both right. Yada yada yada.
Moving on. Okay. Potentially a preview of our Super Bowl. The number one seed Detroit Lions take on the number one seed Buffalo Bills. Or I guess the number two seed because yeah, it's stupid Chiefs. But fucking showdown, man. What a game.
Yeah, you had Detroit
They did.
and I had Buffalo, and we were both wrong on points again. We underestimated. Dude, we talk about how bad Buffalo's defense is. They've given up 84 points in the last two games. And how is that possible? How is that possible? Josh Allen becomes the first player to have two touchdowns rushing and two touchdowns passing in the same game, two games in a row.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Player
he
ever,
had three the game before.
right? I mean, he's a machine. He's an absolute
Dude,
machine.
Josh Allen is unstoppable. Yeah, Vince, if you're watching, Josh Allen's coming for you in our semifinal game this week. Um, but and the Bills get the win on the road. Detroit, they show their soft underbelly a little bit, and now makes that division a little more interesting because the Vikings can take over the division lead if they beat Detroit this week.
Yeah.
Crazy. Can they do it? I don't. Oh no, the Vikings are playing the Bears, but they do. No, they play each other eventually coming up. But yeah, that's kind of a crazy scenario that Detroit can have such an amazing season and still potentially end up as a wild card.
Well, I mean, yeah, dude, that's why we're saying the NFC is totally up for grabs. If I had to call it right now, I would say Philly's not losing again. So the other people that are trying for that spot better win out because if they don't, Philly gonna take it.
Well, there's some gentlemen from Wisconsin that I think could give them a run from their money, but yeah, let's
You're not getting the
we'll
you're not
cross
getting
the
the one seed, Gobo. You've lost
we're
three games.
not get oh the one seed no
You're not getting the one. That's what I'm talking about.
no we can't get the one seed. Um, we have two losses to the Lions, so okay, Tampa and the Clippers. See, this one, I think this is so funny because you hate picking Tampa. I thought I was making this easy for you because I
I,
thought you would pick the Chargers, and
you know what? I might have got to pick this one first.
I think you did, and you
I
picked
did
Tampa.
because I would have picked Detroit. That's why I'm looking at it like because we go back and forth. I would have picked Detroit. So I'm glad that I didn't have to do that there. But yeah, I picked Tampa because dude, Mike Evans is like seriously, he's superhuman, and the game is in SoFi, and I remember commenting that it would be not so much a home game for the Chargers, and it was. I mean,
I mean, yeah, there's no Chargers fans in LA.
yeah. So 3 hour
Uh,
drive or a 6 hour flight. I'm taking the flight. Much easier.
all right. Also Baker Mayfield.
He's awesome.
He's great.
He's
He's a good
awesome.
quarterback, man. He really is. Not a surprise. Here's another banger of a game. I thought this was going to be a little closer than it was. I still thought this is kind of why people should be worried about Philly. This is why the Eagles are probably going to get the top seed and are really kind of the class of the NFC because that is a damn good Pittsburgh team that they kicked the shit out of in this game.
They really did. They shut down well, first of all, they trounced all over their defense, did whatever they wanted. Which is
Yeah. Kind of pedestrian numbers from Saquon and they still get the big win.
well, that's the thing. There's so much discourse with this Eagles team between coaching and players and management and players calling each other out in the news media, and I'm just like, how are they this discombobulated on the surface and then they just go out there and they do what they want. It's I've been talking about that all year ago, Bo, because I thought at one point Sirianni was going to get fired, and he may get fired if they don't win a playoff game this year. He's going to get fired. And they've only had four coaches in the last 25 years, and all but one of them made it to a Super Bowl. So, I mean,
Yeah, it's true.
and they fired Andy Reid of all people.
They fired Andy Reid. They did.
So
That's it.
if you're going to be able to fire those people with good conscience, Sirianni ain't going to last, especially with all the discourse that we've been hearing about in the locker room this season. So I was on Pittsburgh and I said, look, the reason I did that is because if Pittsburgh won that game, we were looking at a potential, wow, we're going to be talking about them in the Super Bowl. Now it's kind of just a reset, like a
Right.
reality check here late in the season where they're like, okay, what did we do? What could we do better to win this game if it were to happen again? I don't know that they have the answers over there right now.
I mean, I think it's tough. I mean, I don't want to count out Mike Tomlin. I think that they still have won a lot of games this year, and they've still won some close games, and they've beaten some good opponents. I don't think they should look at this game as an example as to why they're like screwed going into the playoffs. But yeah, they definitely
Hmm.
they definitely need to make a few adjustments. Oh man. All right, Tyler says JT gave Denver a gift. Like a lot of Colts gave Denver gifts on Sunday. It is the season for giving in
Yeah.
Mile High City.
One horse to another. Baby horse to daddy horse. Or
That's
mommy.
oh man. Dan, did you see what game we're talking about next?
Yeah. I mean, I'll let you go. Go ahead. Dunk. Oh my God. This fucking guy.
Anyways, so this is why you cannot sleep on the Green Bay Packers. All right. You watch this game, dominance on all points. We send Geno home early. Sam Howell comes in. Sam Howell clearly does not belong in the NFL in any capacity. Good Lord. I was remember texting you. I felt bad. I felt bad because the Seahawks, they just like completely out of sorts. But I just said Josh Jacobs killed it. Love killed it. The receivers were actually catching the ball. Our defense was making plays. What was the final score on this one? 30-13. Oh my God. I was like so close. I was so close to getting the score exactly right. But I said you were gonna get 12, so you beat my prediction. So I don't know. I God, that felt good. That was a good win. It felt good to go out there on the road against a team who's played hard against in some of their games this year. I mean, yeah, for our TikTok fans who can't see me on camera, I have a crown on now.
Wearing a crown, you
You have
guys.
to jump over to YouTube to see it.
He's wearing a fucking crown.
I do. You know what? I am the king of NFL tonight.
Well,
I like it almost as much as your hat, Dames.
at least you lost on the week. That's
You
all I
did
can
lose
say.
on the. That's fine. I'll
All
lose.
right.
I'll
So
lose the
which is
battle.
it? Which is it? Incompetence by the Seahawks or dominance by Packers? You can't have both.
I can have. I can have. I get to have both today.
No, it's clearly the incompetence and the ineptitude of Seattle. I mean, it's all over the place. They couldn't block anybody on the offensive side of the ball. I think there were 7 sacks in total. That's unacceptable. The thing I want to talk about, and I really don't want to talk about this at all, and you didn't mention it, so I'm going to give you this one back. Is there's a huge outrage at season ticket holders right now who sold their seats to Packers fans for premium dollar. And I saw pictures of the stadium and it made me kind of puke, Gobo.
Oh, there was a lot of Packers fans there.
Um, it made me kind of disgusted with my own. But here's another tidbit that we've talked about a couple times. Seattle is the worst team in the NFL at home right now. We have the
Worse than the
worst home record
Cowboys.
in the NFL. And it wasn't even this game, it was before this game. We have the best record on the road. That said, I don't think this game goes any differently if we're in Lambeau. Um,
Yeah, I
I
don't
just
really
don't think
think so.
so. But don't think that for a second that if we should somehow play each other again, that it's going to be the same game because it won't. I promise you guys are not that much better than us. All right. We were one game apart in the standings before this game. So let's remember that. Okay. Let's come back a little bit down to earth, Your Highness.
Well,
We're not separated by that much. That said, your coach has been a premium coach. And I'm gonna tell you this. Um, I kind of knew this game was over from the before the first kickoff, and I'm gonna tell you why. Every time you win a kickoff, you win the coin toss, 99% of the time you guys defer. Same with us.
mhm.
All right. And the reason for that is Seattle's gone 18 games in a row now without scoring on their first drive. So when you're a coach, Matt LaFleur comes in, wins the coin toss, and says, "We want the ball." I knew we were going to be down 14-0. I knew that was going to happen. I almost texted you this, and I was really mad at myself for not texting you this once it happened.
Right.
Because here's the thing. This is a good coach, you guys, and our rookie coach just couldn't hang with him.
No.
They just couldn't do it, and there was great adjustments at halftime. I'll tell you, the second half offense of the Packers, not great. The adjustments were made. It was the first half of the game that royally and then losing Gino, we had no chance in the second
Yeah.
half.
You need him to
Sam
leave.
Howell doesn't even look like he can throw a football. Like the way it comes out of his hand is absolutely weird. So that's why, dude. That's why I say your coach said, you know what? We're gonna score on the opening drive because they can't stop anybody on the opening drive. It takes them like a quarter and a half to figure out how to play defense. Plus, they can't score on the opening drive. So let's give ourselves an extra possession in the first half of the game and completely win the game in the first half. And that's exactly what they did. It was magical for, I mean, if you're a coaching mind, which I'm not really a coaching mind, but like I'm a scheming mind. So when he made that call and we were kicking to you, I was like, it's gonna be 14-0. I already knew it, and I was like, the game will be over at that point. If anything else goes wrong, the game's over. I mean, we kind of made it look interesting for a little bit, but once the second half, Gino got hurt, I just sat
I
back
mean,
and was like, all right.
I think the most interesting thing on the Seattle sideline was your highlighter jerseys. Um, yeah, it was ugly, man. Like I didn't think the Seahawks looked good at all. I think the Packers, like, that's what you do. Like when you're a better team, when you have the advantage, you drive it home, man. You don't let them stay in the game, and I think they did a great job. I don't know. I'm proud of my team. So I mean, we can talk about
Should be. You
ineptitude on
should
the
be,
other
but
team.
I'm also going to keep it real for you a little bit.
I
It's
mean,
my
you could
job over here.
try. I mean, you could keep it real as you want on the losing sideline,
But
but
here's the
like
thing, Gobo. You could go down to New Orleans this week and lose. You
I
could.
I don't I think that's pretty unlikely.
I do too, but I'm not. I'm saying this is the NFL, dude. Like, there's no games that are going to be really gifted to you, like as much as we kind of did that one. I mean, it's not going to be the same game if we play again. I promise you that.
I
Um,
mean,
I don't think we will because I think now that we're kind of, you guys took us
I
out.
was gonna say, I was like, yeah, because I don't think the Green Bay is definitely not gonna get a home game, and Seattle, I don't think is either. So like, if you guys make
Well,
the,
no, we don't know that.
you
Okay,
don't know anything.
there's 3 games left, and the last game is against the Rams. So if and one of our games is against the Bears. So if the Rams win out, yeah, that's over. But if they don't win out, and we play in week 18, it'd be for the division. That means somebody has to come to Seattle. There's no second team coming out of our division for the playoffs. Not gonna
No,
happen.
there is absolutely not.
Not gonna happen. All right. But anyway, congratulations, King Gobes. I'm making good on my promise. It's pretty comfortable actually. So
I was gonna say,
I
it
don't
looks
feel
good
that
on
bad.
you. You
Don't
look,
feel that
you look right, James.
bad.
It looks official.
All
All
right.
right. Let's talk about these dog shit Monday night games. Um, man, we were both extremely close on the score on this. You said 31 to 13. I said 28 to 13. It was 30 to 12. You were off by 2 points, 1 point on each team.
Wow. I didn't even catch that.
I was gonna say Bob Barker would be so proud.
And I
Uh,
was under. I was under. So I get the
oh,
prize.
you were over. You're one over.
Oh, you're
So
right.
you busted. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
So it's that. Oh, I went over on the Chicago score. Anyways, yeah, Bears are done. Technically, mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. As our good friend Dan Aykroyd would say. Um, Vikings, Sam Darnold looked good again, man. Like I don't understand. Like this team, they seem like pretenders, and then they go out, they handle their business. Um,
I can't clown on Sam Darnold. I can't clown on them.
can't do it. You can't do it anymore. You know, honestly, the Jets should consider bringing him back.
Dude, what are they gonna do with him at the end of the year?
Because I would say they got their rookie. You know, they got a controversy for sure because Sam
I mean,
they're
that's
in the
not for
playoffs
Josh Allen.
with the Green Bay win that puts Minnesota in the playoffs for sure. Green Bay has to win one more game to be locked in. Um,
Not for Josh Allen. He would still be in the MVP conversation.
I was gonna say Josh Allen should win the next 5 MVPs for how well he's played this year.
I mean, he's ridiculous.
He's a machine.
I
Terminator
said that
with
week 1 though. I was like, this guy, as long as he's on your team, you're a contender. And
absolutely. Um, and then rounding it out to maybe the most pointless game of the week, next to the Jets and Jaguars. Atlanta heading over to Vegas, and not just for those great seafood buffets that made me very sick when I was 11 years old. Um, they go down there and get a win. And as we predicted, this game was boring as shit. Actually, you predicted Atlanta was going to score 28. I said 14 to 3, 15 to 9 was the final. 15 to 9.
shame
Do you
on
know
them.
how expensive Raiders tickets are? Unacceptable. I don't like it,
Here,
but
here's the thing. I watched a reel after you know what? No, let's just forget it because it was a completely different game, but we'll talk about Kirk Cousins later on in the next show. This one can be over as far as I'm concerned.
I
I'm
was
ready
going to say
to
this.
Robo.
So there it is. How did our fans do?
You know what? I meant to look. I know we had another guy. Tyler did it this week.
Tyler, yep. A good old
So
T Herbie.
tell us what you did. I'm sorry. I'm a failure as a human being. I've got so much to do. I didn't look at it this week, and I apologize, but we've been getting throttled. I don't think anybody probably did better than 12-4 though.
1-4 was pretty good. Especially there was kind of a wacky week. Well, everything was fairly straightforward. I was gonna say, was there any upsets this week?
I mean,
Tampa over the Chargers, maybe.
I mean, I feel like the Jets over Jacksonville is probably what should have happened. Like if you set out at the beginning of the year and you were making uh predictions, you would have predicted that. Buffalo over Detroit might be an upset, but I don't know how you really could have.
I don't think Buffalo beating anybody is an upset.
But at home though.
I mean, yeah, I think that the
But
money line was probably favoring Detroit a little bit, but yeah, it's not a huge upset.
let me ask you this just before we sign off here. If that's the Super Bowl, I mean, okay, we got to throw our teams aside here. If our teams are eliminated and that's the Super Bowl, that's a good one. I mean, I'm watching the hell out of that. And I don't even care who wins at that point.
I mean, yeah, that's
Oh, I do want to say this though. I know we talked about that game already, but how about the call by Dan Campbell to onside kick with like a lot of time left when they didn't need to, and the guy returned the fucking kick. That's
Dan Campbell. He's basically that episode of South Park with where weed was legalized and all the guys intentionally gave themselves testicular cancer and they're all bouncing around on their gigantic balls. That's Dan Campbell.
so
The dude's got brass ones, man. He's not afraid of fucking anything.
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of fans are probably really pissed though. So we'll see. Anyway,
They still probably lose the game if they don't do that. Um, so that's the recap show. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you everybody on TikTok for your great conversation. We're gonna jump in. We're gonna be a lot more interactive on the next show because we are talking about week 16 predictions. We're gonna talk about college football. We're gonna talk about some news, injuries, crazy fan theories. It's gonna be great. Um, Make sure to like, sub, follow, send us angry messages, whatever you need.
sending me messages.
I was gonna say I'm usually the beacon of hate on this channel, so and that's fine with me. I accept my role in the organization. Thank you so much everybody for watching. Take care. Have a wonderful holiday season. Stay tuned. We got the the prediction show coming up.